Since the discovery of the Indus Valley civilization, we have to accept that civilization in India is at least 5,000 years old. Indian culture is extremely, extremely ancient.
Deep within the heart of an isolated mountain, where the whispers of the past linger and the touch of time remains untouched, scientists have discovered an ancient structure carved inside a mountain that defies all logic. This mysterious monument challenges our concepts of history and human capability. Could this carve be the work of mere mortal hands? Join us as we unravel the mystery behind this ancient structure that challenges all known logic. The Ellora and Hindu Caves. The Ellora Caves, located in what is now called Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar district, Maharashtra, India, are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They are famous for being one of the largest groups of Hindu temple caves carved into rock worldwide, featuring artworks made between 600 CE and 1000 CE. The site includes not only Hindu temples, but also Buddhist and Jain structures. What makes Ellora special is its rock-cut architecture, where some buildings do not have typical cave roofs. Among these, Cave 16 is notable for the Kailasa Temple, a huge monolithic rock carving dedicated to the deity Shiva, designed like a chariot. This temple is known for its detailed sculptures depicting various Hindu gods and scenes from Hindu epics. Ellora has over 100 caves, with 34 open to the public. These caves are divided into Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain groups. Caves 13 to 29, 1 to 12, and 30 to 34 respectively, each group representing the religious beliefs and stories of the first millennium CE. They were constructed close to each other, showing the religious acceptance and peace of ancient India. The monuments at Ellora were mostly built during the rule of the Rashtrakuta dynasty, around 753 to 982 CE, who were responsible for the Hindu and Buddhist caves, and later by the Yadava dynasty, around 1187 to 1317 CE, which added several Jain caves. Money for these large constructions came from local rulers, merchants, and wealthy individuals of that era. The caves at Ellora were not just temples and resting places for pilgrims, but also important centers along an ancient trade route in South Asia. This strategic position made Ellora a busy commercial center in the Deccan region. It is located 29 kilometers northwest of Aurangabad and about 300 kilometers east-northeast of Mumbai. Today, alongside the nearby Ajanta Caves, Ellora is a popular tourist spot in Maharashtra's Marathwada region and a protected historical site managed by the Archaeological Survey of India, ASI. Ellora, also known as Varul or Ellora, gets its name from its ancient name Ellorpuram. This name has roots in references like the Baroda inscription from 812 CE, which praises the magnificence of the Kailasa Temple built by Krishna Raja on a hill at Ellapura. Each cave at Ellora is individually named and suffixed with Guha in Sanskrit or Lina Leni in Marathi, meaning cave in Indian tradition. The Ellora Caves are in Maharashtra, about 29 kilometers northwest of the city of Sambhaji Nagar. They are roughly 300 kilometers northeast of Mumbai, 235 kilometers from Pune, and about 100 kilometers west of the Ajanta Caves. Located 2.3 kilometers from the Grishneshwar Temple, Ellora is believed to have gotten its name from Ilvalapuram, linked to the demon Ilvala, who once ruled this region before sage Agastya defeated him. Ellora is situated in a flat area of the Western Ghats, where ancient volcanic activity shaped multi-layered basalt formations known as the Deccan Traps. This geological process happened during the Cretaceous period, forming a cliff face that made it easier for architects to reach different layers of rock. They could choose finer-grained basalt for detailed sculpting, resulting in the intricate craftsmanship visible in the caves today. Since the time of British colonial rule, experts have been studying the structure at Ellora. One of the main challenges they face is the mixing of styles seen in the Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain caves, which makes it difficult to determine when each was built. Key debates focus on whether the Buddhist or Hindu caves came first and how to accurately date each cave within its respective tradition. Scholars have generally agreed by comparing Ellora's carving styles with those of other cave temples in the Deccan region, looking at historical records from various ruling periods, and examining inscriptions found in archaeological sites near Ellora and Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka. According to scholars like Gary Hockfield Malandra, the construction of the Ellora caves can be divided into three main periods: an early phase of Hindu influence around 550 to 600 CE, a later phase influenced by Buddhism around 600 to 730 CE, and a final phase showing influences from both Hinduism and Jainism around 730 to 950 CE. The earliest caves could have been built during the times of the Trikutakas and Vakataka dynasties. Among them, the Vakatakas are well known for supporting the Ajanta caves. However, it's likely that some of the earliest caves, like Cave 29, dedicated to Hindu gods, were built under the influence of Lord Shiva by the Kalachuri dynasty. The Buddhist caves, on the other hand, were probably built by the Chalukya dynasty. Moving forward, the Hindu caves were developed during the Kalachuri period, from the mid-6th century to the late 8th century, in two main phases. The first phase saw the creation of 9 cave temples early in the 6th century, followed by an additional 4 caves, caves 17 to 29. The construction sequence began with caves 28, 27, and 19, followed by caves 29 and 21, while caves 20 and 26 were carved out at the same time. Caves 17 and 28 were the last to start construction. The later caves, specifically 14, 15, and 16, were built during the Rashtrakuta period, dating from the 8th to 10th centuries. Construction began with caves 14 and 15, and cave 16, noted as the world's largest monolith, was the final one completed. These caves were finished in the 8th century under the patronage of King Krishna I. The building of the first Hindu caves began before any Buddhist or Jain caves were constructed. These initial caves were mostly dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva, although the artwork also shows respect for other gods and goddesses of Hinduism. A notable feature of these cave temples was a carved symbol of Shiva at the center of the shrine, surrounded by a path for devotees to walk around. Cave 29, called Dumar Lena, is one of the earliest excavations at Ellora and among the largest. Early Hindu temple construction in this cave focused on the Vale Ganga, a natural waterfall that became part of the monument itself. The waterfall is visible from a carved balcony to the south and is likened to flowing over Shiva's brow, especially during the monsoon season. The sculptures in this cave are larger than life-size, but according to historian Davalekar, they appear plump and stocky with disproportionately short limbs, unlike those found in other Ellora caves. Cave 21, also known as Rameshwar Lena, is an ancient cave structure believed to have been constructed by the Kalachuri dynasty. It was built before the rise of the Rashtrakuta dynasty, which later expanded the Ellora caves. This cave is notable not only for its architectural similarities to other Ellora caves, but also for its unique artworks. Among its treasures are carvings depicting stories like the Chase of Shiva by goddess Parvati. Scenes of Shiva and Parvati relaxing, their wedding, Shiva's dance, and depictions of Kartikeya Skanda can be found here, along with a prominent display of the Sapta Matrika, 7 mother goddesses of the Shakti tradition, flanked by Ganesha and Shiva. Inside, the temple features other important goddesses from the Shakti tradition, such as Durga. The entrance to Cave 21 is decorated with impressive sculptures of Ganga and Yamuna, symbolizing the importance of these rivers in Indian culture. The cave is designed symmetrically based on the Mandapa square principle, with embedded geometric patterns throughout. The innermost chamber houses a Shiva linga equally positioned between the statues of Ganga and Yamuna, forming an equilateral triangle. This layout is believed to symbolize the relationship between Brahman and Prakriti, representing the balance of male and female energies central to Hindu theology, according to scholar Carmel Berkson. The Kailasa Temple, Cave 16, called the Kailasa Temple, stands out in India because of its huge size impressive architecture, and the fact that it was entirely carved from a single rock. The temple is inspired by Mount Kailash and is dedicated to Shiva. The Kailasa Temple follows the design of traditional Hindu temples. It includes a big entrance, a large assembly hall, and a multi-story main temple surrounded by smaller shrines arranged in a square pattern. The entire complex is designed for walking around, and at its center is the inner sanctum housing the symbol of Shiva. The temple's peak resembles Mount Kailash, and all structures are carefully carved from a single rock. Various shrines inside the temple are dedicated to Hindu gods like Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, the 10 avatars of Vishnu, and ancient gods like Indra, Agni, Vayu, Surya, and Usha. Additionally, there are sculptures of other deities like Ganesha, Ardhanarishvara, a mix of Shiva and Parvati, Harihara, a blend of Shiva and Vishnu, Annapurna, Durga, and more. The lower levels of the temple feature detailed carvings showing stories from Shaiva, Vaishnava, and Shakti traditions. Notably, intricate carvings depict 12 episodes from the childhood of Krishna, which are important in Vaishnavism. The Kailasa Temple complex is an amazing engineering achievement, standing as a self-supporting structure with multiple levels, covering an area twice the size of the Parthenon in Athens. It took about 3 million cubic feet of rock, weighing roughly 200,000 tons, to carve out this extraordinary temple. The temple was built by King Krishna I of the Rashtrakuta dynasty, who ruled from 756 to 773 CE. It also shows influences from Pallava architecture. The temple courtyard is 82 meters by 46 meters at the base and rises to a height of 30 meters. The entrance has a small tower called Gopuram. Inside, the main shrine that holds the lingam has a hall with a flat roof supported by 16 pillars and a tall spire in the Dravidian style above it. At the entrance, there is a platform where a statue of Nandi, Shiva's sacred bull, is placed. The walls inside the main temple are adorned with detailed carvings showing scenes from the Mahabharata on the north side and the Ramayana on the south side. The Kailasa Temple is a standout example of ancient Indian temple construction, especially from the first millennium. It's considered a marvel of rock-cut monuments and has been praised as a wonder of the world by Carmel Berkson. Moving to the Dashavatara Temple, also known as Cave 15, it's a significant excavation completed sometime after Cave 14, Ravan Ki Kai, Hindu. Cave 15 has a similar layout to Buddhist Caves 11 and 12, suggesting it was initially planned as a Buddhist cave. However, its entrance features a Nritya Mandapa, an Indian classical dance pavilion, indicating a shift away from Buddhist intentions. According to James Harle, Hindu images have been found in Buddhist Cave 11, and several Hindu deities appear in Buddhist caves in the area. This blending of Buddhist and Hindu designs could be due to shared architects and workers, or possibly a Buddhist cave repurposed as a Hindu monument. Gary Malandra argues that all the Buddhist caves at Ellora were established in a place already revered as a Brahmanical tirtha, a Hindu pilgrimage site, rather than the other way around. Additionally, the absence of donative inscriptions for the Buddhist Ellora caves, except those by Hindu dynasties that built them, leaves the original purpose of these cave temples open to speculation. Within Cave 15 of the Hindu temple complex, there is a large open area. At its center stands a big hall called a mandapa, made from a single piece of stone. Around it is a 2-story temple, carved directly into the rock. On the upper floor of this temple are large sculpted panels, placed between the columns of its walls. These panels show various scenes, including the 10 forms of Vishnu. An inscription credited to Danti Durga is carved on the back wall of the front mandapa, which is important for figuring out how old the temple is. According to Kumaraswamy, one of the most remarkable carvings in this cave depicts the death of Hiranyakashipu. In this scene, Vishnu transforms into a man-lion, Narasimha, and dramatically emerges from a pillar to strike down Hiranyakashipu. This masterpiece was created by the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Additionally, Cave 15 has many other carvings, such as depictions of Gangadhara, the wedding of Shiva and Parvati; Tripurantika from the Shakti tradition; Markandeya, Garuda, various aspects of life; Nandi in the Mandapa; dancing Shiva, Antakasura, Govardhanadari, and Gajendravarada, among others. These panels are arranged in pairs, which, according to Carmel Berkson, interact to show both cooperative and conflicting energies, symbolizing a dynamic exchange of power. Other notable Hindu caves nearby include Ravan Ki Kai, Cave 14, and Nilkantha, Cave 22, each famous for their extensive collections of sculptures. Cave 25 is distinguished by its impressive ceiling carving depicting Surya, the sun god. These caves are located southward and were built sometime between 630 CE and 730 CE. Initially, it was thought that the Buddhist caves, constructed from the 5th to 8th centuries, were the oldest buildings. They were divided into two periods: Caves 1 to 5 from 400 to 600 CE, and Caves 6 to 12 from 650 to 750 CE. However, recent research suggests that Hindu caves might have been built before the Buddhist ones. The first Buddhist cave is Cave 6, followed by Caves 5, 2, 3, 5 right side, 4, 7, 8, 10, and 9. Caves 11 and 12, also named Duthal and Tinthal respectively, are the last ones constructed. Of the 12 Buddhist caves, 11 are viharas, which are monasteries with prayer halls. These large, multi-storied structures are carved into the mountain rock and include living spaces, sleeping quarters, kitchens, and various other rooms. Inside these monastery caves are shrines decorated with sculptures of Gautama Buddha, bodhisattvas, and saints. Some of these caves even feature sculptural methods that imitate the look of wood in stone. Caves 5, 10, 11, and 12 are significant Buddhist caves known for their architectural brilliance. Among them, Cave 5 stands out at Ellora for its unique design. It features a large hall with 2 long benches in the center and a Buddha statue at the back. This layout, found only in Cave 5 at Ellora and Cave 11 at Kanheri Caves, is rare in India. Caves 1 to 9 are primarily monasteries, whereas Cave 10, known as the Vishvakarma Cave, serves as a major prayer hall for Buddhists. Caves 11 and 12, however, are 3-story monasteries dedicated to Mahayana Buddhism. Inside these caves, intricate carvings of idols, mandalas on the walls, and depictions of goddesses and bodhisattvas abound. These artworks strongly suggest the presence and influence of Vajrayana and Tantra Buddhism in South Asia by the 8th century CE. The Vishvakarma Cave. One of the impressive Buddhist caves is Cave 10, also known as the Vishvakarma Cave, built around 650 CE. It is a sacred place called a chaitya, where followers gather for worship. This cave is also nicknamed the Carpenter's Cave because its rock surfaces look like wooden beams. Beyond its large entrance, similar to a multi-story building, is a prayer hall known as a chaitya griha, where ceremonies are held. At its center sits a 15-foot statue of Buddha teaching. Cave 10 is a unique mix of living quarters, vihara, and a chapel-like worship hall. It includes 8 smaller rooms, 4 on the back wall and 4 on the right, as well as a front porch. It is the only chaitya griha specifically dedicated among the Buddhist caves, designed in a style similar to Caves 19 and 26 at Ajanta. Cave 10 also has an elaborate arched window called a gavaksha or chandrashala and is connected to Cave 9 at Ellora. The main hall of the Vishvakarma Cave is shaped like a semicircle and divided into a central aisle and side aisles by 28 octagonal columns with simple top parts. At the end of the hall stands a stupa with a tall Buddha seated in a teaching pose carved into its front, backed by a large Bodhi tree. The hall has a vaulted ceiling, intricately carved with rib-like patterns imitating wooden beams, known as triforium. Above the columns, there are decorative bands showing Naga queens, while detailed sculptures depict scenes of performers, dancers, and musicians. At the front of the prayer hall is a courtyard made from rock, reachable by a set of steps. The entrance to the cave is decorated with a beautifully carved front showing detailed Indian designs like celestial dancers and meditating monks. Next to the upper level are covered areas held up by pillars, each with small rooms along their back walls. The pillared porch in the prayer hall has small shrines at both ends and a single room at the far end of its back wall. The columns along the corridors are strong, with square shafts and capitals decorated with patterns of vases and leaves. Throughout Cave 10, different levels display sculptures of male and female gods like Maitreya, Tara, Avalokitesvara, Vajradhamma, Manjusri, Burkuti, and Mahamayuri, all crafted in the unique style of the Pala dynasty from eastern India. Additionally, influences from southern India can be seen in several artworks in this cave. Situated at the north end of Ellora are 5 Jain caves linked with the Digambara sect, dug out during the 9th and early 10th centuries. While smaller than the Buddhist and Hindu caves, these Jain caves are famous for their intricate carvings. Constructed around the same time as the Hindu caves, they share architectural and religious features such as pillared porches, symmetrical pavilions, and spaces for worship. However, unlike Hindu temples, the Jain caves prominently feature depictions of the 24 jinas, spiritual conquerors who have achieved liberation from the cycle of rebirths. Alongside these jinas, the sculptures in the Jain temples include representations of gods, goddesses, male and female nature spirits, and human devotees, reflecting Jain mythology from the first millennium CE. Jose Pereira's research shows that what were originally believed to be 5 caves at Ellora consist of 23 separate diggings made over different periods. Among these, 13 are in Indra Sabha, 6 in Jaganatha Sabha, and the rest in Chota Kailash. Pereira used various sources to suggest that the construction of the Jain caves likely started in the late 8th century. This continued until the 10th to 13th centuries, stopping due to the invasion by the Delhi Sultanate. Evidence includes inscriptions from 1235 CE, where a donor mentions converting Karanadri into a Jain pilgrimage site by sponsoring the carving of Jain spiritual figures. Among the notable Jain shrines are Chota Kailash, Cave 30, with 4 diggings, Indra Sabha, Cave 32, with 13 diggings, and Jagannath Sabha, Cave 33 with 4 diggings. Cave 31 remains an unfinished hall with 4 pillars and a shrine. Cave 34, a smaller cave, is accessible through an opening in Cave 33. The Jain caves at Ellora are famous for containing some of the earliest depictions of Samavasarana among their devotional carvings. Samavasarana is important to Jains as the hall where Tirthankaras preaches after achieving Kevala Jnana, liberating omniscience. Another interesting aspect of these caves is the frequent portrayal of Jain sacred figures like Parsvanatha and Bahubali, appearing together 19 times. Additionally, the caves feature artworks depicting deities such as Sarasvati, Shri, Saudarmendra, Sarvanubhuti, Gomukha, Ambika, Kakrasvari, Padmavati, Kshetrapala, and Hanuman, each contributing to the cultural richness of the site. The small Kailasha, called the Little Kailasha, gets its name because its carvings look like those found in the bigger Kailasa Temple. This temple probably dates back to the early 9th century, around the same time the lower level of the Indra Sabha was built, a few decades after the Kailasa Temple was finished. The small Kailasha shows 2 very large carvings of dancing Indra, one with 8 arms and another with 12, both wearing jewelry and a crown. Indra's hands are shown in different poses similar to those seen in dancing Shiva artworks found in nearby Hindu caves. However, there are noticeable differences in the details of the images, showing that this cave portrays a dancing Indra rather than a dancing Shiva. Also, the entrance panels of the cave display other gods, heavenly beings, musicians, and dancers. Art historian Lisa Owen has asked whether music and dance were part of 9th century Jainism because Jainism mainly focuses on meditation and simple living. For example, Rajan suggested that Cave 30 might have originally been a Hindu monument and was later turned into a Jain temple. However, Owen thinks that the festive artwork in the temple fits better with the Samavasarana belief in Jainism, which allows for such celebrations. There is confusion between Jain and Hindu stories because the Hindu Mahabharata's Book 3 describes Indra's home as a paradise with many heroes, courtesans, and artisans. This kind of imagery is found throughout Cave 30, making it look similar to Hindu caves. However, the deeper you go into the temple, the more you see symbols that align with Jainism, like meditating figures and images of Janus, where Jain worshippers would perform their rituals. Cave 31, which has 4 pillars, a small shrine, and many carvings, was never finished. On the left wall of the hall, there is a carving of Parshvanatha, guarded by the Yaksha Dharanendra with his 7 snake hoods. On the right wall, there is a carving of Gomateshvara. Inside the shrine, there is an idol of Vardhamana Mahavir Swami, sitting in a lotus position on a lion throne with a chakra in the middle of the throne. On the left side of the shrine, you can see the figure of the Yaksha Matanga riding an elephant, and on the right side, there is a figure of the Yakshi Siddhaiki sitting on a lion with a child on her lap. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In the heart of a distant mountain range, scientists discovered a mystery hidden in solid rock, an ancient structure carved inside a mountain that defies all logic. Carved carefully inside the mountain, its walls shone with symbols and patterns that seemed to have a strange energy. Dr. Emily Hayes, a smart archaeologist, led the trip, fascinated by the structure's impossible shape and the stories about it. As they went deeper, the air buzzed with a mysterious sound, making their skin tingle with excitement and worry. Each room they found showed new marvels, advanced machines made long ago, maps of the stars carved into stone that predicted events centuries away, and complex devices that seemed to control natural forces long before humans appeared. Their discoveries made people around the world interested in arguing, drawing experts, doubters, and people who believe in secret plans. How did they manage to achieve such accuracy using basic tools? And what was the reason for hiding it deep within the mountain? Let us know your answer in the comments section. The Indra Sabha. The Indra Sabha, Cave 32, carved in the 9th century, is a 2-story cave with a single-piece shrine in its courtyard. In the 19th century, historians mistook the Jain Yaksas for different images of Indra seen in Buddhist and Hindu art, which is why the temple got the wrong name, Indra Sabha. Indra is a key god in Buddhism, Hinduism, and Jainism. However, he holds special significance in Jainism as one of 64 gods ruling over the heavens. Specifically, Indra is the king of the first Jain heaven, Saudharmakalpa, and the chief builder of the celestial assembly hall, mentioned in the Jain holy text, the Adipurana. This temple is important because it shows proof, through layers of deposits and old texts, that the Jain community actively worshipped there. Rituals were often held on the upper floor, where the artwork likely played a major role. Like many Ellora caves, the Indra Sabha is decorated with various carvings, such as lotus flowers on the ceiling. On the upper level, towards the back of the court, there is a statue of Ambika, the Yakshini, female spirit, of Neminath, sitting on her lion under a mango tree full of fruit. In the center of the shrine, 4 Tirthankaras, spiritual teachers of Jainism, are Shiva first, Neminatha 22nd, Parsvanatha 23rd, and Mahavira 24th, are aligned to the cardinal directions, making it a sacred place for worship. Next to the Indra Sabha is the Jaganatha Sabha, Cave 33, the second largest Jain cave at Ellora, also dating to the 9th century. It is a 2-story cave with 12 massive pillars and elephant heads projecting towards a porch, all carved from a single rock. The hall has 2 heavy square pillars in front, 4 in the middle, and a pillared interior square principal hall with finely carved capitals, ridges, and brackets. The main idols here are Parshvanatha and Mahavira, the last 2 Tirthankaras. Inscriptions in Cave 34 or J26, as per historian Jose Pereira, haven't been fully interpreted, but are believed to be from 800 to 850 CE. Other inscriptions, like one by Sri Nagavarma, date from the 9th or 10th century. Cave 34 features a large seated Parshvanatha Jina with 4 attendants holding fly whisks, seemingly emerging from the back of Jina's throne. Like other Jain caves, it has a large pair of yaksa-yaksi near the Jina. At the back of the cave, there is a bearded figure with a bowl of round sacrificial offerings, resembling pindas, rice balls, or lattice, sweets, suggesting Jain worship rituals, possibly a Shraddha ceremony. This Parshvanatha is paired with a standing Gomateshvara and accompanied by carvings of musicians playing various instruments like horns, drums, conchs, trumpets, and cymbals. A notable feature is the giant, open lotus carving on the ceiling and rooftop, symbolizing the temple's divinity. On a hill northeast of the main caves is a Jain temple with a 16-foot rock-carved image of Lord Parshvanath from the Rashtrakuta period, dated 1234 AD. This well-preserved image is flanked by Dharendra and Padmavati. The inscription mentions the site as Charana Hill, a holy place still in active worship, managed by a Jain Gurukul in the village, accessible by climbing 600 steps. Over the centuries, these caves have been visited regularly, being near a trade route. In the 9th and 10th centuries, Buddhist monks frequented Ellora. The 10th century Baghdad resident al-Mas'udi mistakenly referred to it as Aladra, describing it as a great temple and pilgrimage site. Alauddin Bahman Shah camped there in 1352 CE, and other records by Farishta, Thevenot, Nicolau Manucci, Charles Ware Mallet, and Seeley acknowledge Ellora's significance, though some descriptions, like Manucci's claim of Chinese workmanship, are inaccurate. Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb and his courtier Mustaid Khan also noted its importance, visiting often and appreciating its carvings despite the monument's desolate state. The Lila Charitra, a Marathi text from the late 13th century, reports that Ellora's active use ceased then, likely due to Deogiri's fall to the Delhi Sultanate in 1294 CE. However, the Jain caves flourished under the Yadava dynasty's Singhana until the late 13th century when Jain religious activity ceased under Islamic rule. The Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain monuments at Ellora have suffered significant damage, especially to idols, due to iconoclasm by Muslim armies from the 15th to 17th centuries. Despite the desecration, the intricate carvings on the pillars and natural object depictions on the walls remain intact. Muslim historians from the Islamic Sultanate period documented this widespread damage, with some expressing regret over the destruction of such beautiful works. What are your thoughts on the scientific discovery of an ancient structure interestingly carved inside a mountain that defies all logic? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section.